Welcome back to the ICF series on the Code of Ethics. Thank you for being here. We are heading into the next video, which is about the responsibility to clients, standards 5 through 8. And our guest today is Jürgen Bache from Germany. He's a part of the committee that worked on the code. So Jürgen, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I'm proud to be here as a part of the team which made this big work at the Code of Ethics in the last 1.5 years.
Well, thank you to you and the entire committee. But let's head right into number 5. Mirna mentioned this in the last video, so this kind of flows right out of number 4. So tell us what coaches need to be thinking about when it comes to breaking confidentiality.
Standards 3 and 4 are regulating the special treatment of informations of any kind and shows that confidentiality is the essential basis of the coaching relationship. This applies almost without exceptions, but there are exceptions which are regulated in number 5. There is no general protection of confidentiality in coaching, such as with psychiatrists or lawyers. Exceptions to confidentiality are based on legal regulations and on the agreements made in the coaching contracts. For example, the coach is legally obliged to act if he gains the impression during coaching that the client poses a danger to himself. For example, by threatening suicide, or to others, for example, by planning serious crimes. It is very important that the coach knows and observes the local legal requirements. Exceptions based on the contract can include, for example, informations to the sponsor. All those involved in the coaching process must agree on possible exceptions before the start. You will find a lot of more examples in the interpretive statements of number 5, for example. And our goal is that you take time to think about these special points and find a personal position and opinion.
That's great. I love that idea of thinking about these in advance of any potential conflicts when it comes to ethics. So great point. And with this one, especially if you're an internal coach, it goes a little deeper because you have a sponsor relationship too that you might need to be disclosing things to a sponsor. So that's where number 6 comes in. So what do coaches need to be looking at when it comes to standard number 6?
Number 6 refers to the special situation of internal coaches. Here there is a risk of conflicts of interests. Internal roles and tasks, for example, HR staff or leadership relationships and dependencies, can influence a coaching process. As an internal coach, the ICF Professional should pay particular attention to conflicts of interest arising from former, current, or potential future leadership relationships. For example, line or matrix organizations, agile systems, and so on, etc. Possible conflicts between the ICF Code of Ethics and the existing corporate culture or internal company regulations should be identified and taken into account by the coach. The special situation that an internal coach may be sometimes be on the line of a leader he coached in the past is a big part of possible conflicts.
Yes, it can be complicated when you're an internal coach and you have different additional relationships beyond just coach and coachee. But let's go over to number 7, which talks about information and records. What do coaches need to be thinking about for this point?
Data security is a very important point in our days. The coach's records or the handling of technology also touch on the broad issue of confidentiality. This is what number 7 is all about. Most coaches work with records in written or electronic form. The protection of these records is subject to local data protection laws, which every coach must be aware of. This concerns protection against direct access, but also security on platforms and servers. The coach should make sure that his supporters treat the information confidentially and in accordance to the requirements of the ICF Code of Ethics. This is especially true if he or she also uses social media in coaching. The client should know what kind of information the coach records and how it is secured. In the event of problems or violation of data protection, the client should be informed immediately. I think this point will become more important in future. If we are using artificial intelligence, for example, if you are using machines like Alexa or Siri in your office, do you shut down them during the coaching process? What about such machines in the office of your clients? Look to the data protection in such situations too.
Yeah, that is a great point. It's something when I was reading through the interpretive statement, something I never even thought of is the fact that these things could be in our office and are constantly listening to what's going on. So definitely things, this is a great reason to read those interpretive statements and to remember that they are living documents. So they will be added to over time, or to participate in the discussions of the ethics, because there's a couple of ways that you as a coach can get involved in the evolution of these ethics over the next number of years. And that brings up a point in my mind is that so many coaches are working worldwide. So whose laws are it that apply? How does ICF suggest handling that?
It's important that the coach and the client are working on the same legal base. And so it's necessary to look which law is the current law for this special relationship. We can use the templates from the ICF toolkit, and each coach can find these templates on the website of ICF.
Yes, that's so important because you're in Germany, I'm in the United States. Which law applies or takes precedence over the other? And I think you're right. That is something that the templates will help you as a coach address. So number 8 is a little bit of a change now, shifting from the legal aspects to more about the coaching relationship and when there might be a shift in the value that the client is getting. So what do coaches need to be watching for here?
The benefit of the client is the focus of our work. If we notice that he or she no longer benefits sufficiently from our work, we must act. This is the topic of number 8. With particular experience, the feeling of when a coaching process reached its limit also grows. I think it's not possible to handle every question from our clients. We need specialists for different topics, for example. In my opinion, it's necessary that coaches improve their awareness and improve their competences to see where is the part in the coaching process when it is changing. If the client does no longer have a profit from our relationship, then we have to change something.
Yes, and I think that points out the importance of coaching supervision, which I think you in Europe are probably a little more accustomed to than us in the United States. But I think that's a growing area here in the United States.
If there's a situation where the coach is unsure what to do, then every time it's the right choice to use your supervisor or use the colleague relationship and speak about this with other coaches and find a solution.
Great. Thank you, Jürgen, for your time today. And of course, thank you for watching this video. And next up, I've got Anita Gupta, and she's up here speaking about the next few standards in the responsibility to clients. And if you just popped onto this video and you want to watch the entire series, you can head down here to start at the beginning. We'll see you in the next video.